Solution to many of your problems and challenges is simple. Allow yourself to dream bigger. Most people are constantly busy with fixing challenges and problems. They're constantly looking at the gap. Why? Because we want to feel safe. It's an instinct, it's inbuilt. The crazy thing is that when you have a bigger vision, what automatically happens is instead of looking this way, you start looking that way. And guess what pulls you? The expanded vision will pull you automatically away from that gap, from the challenges, etc. This is what separates normal people from Delulu people, because Delulu people have that bigger vision. And in plain simple language, what they are actually doing is they allow themselves to dream bigger, especially when there are challenges. So past episodes, I talked about my time at Dell when I was in my 20s. And the story started with my manager who wasn't impressed by me, gave me a kick in my butt. And eventually that led me into wanting to prove to him who I was, right? When I had to face why am I not really performing, because he was kind of right, I had to really accept the fact that I didn't really believe that I could hit my target. And so I started to reprogram myself. I really started to help myself with the tools, like making a mind movie and making my own little Bible, is what I call it, where I only wrote down every affirmation or every story that I felt inspired me. And I was reading that every day on my commute. And so today I'm going to talk about another thing that I did. Because I really start to program myself, I start to move like that person. And that person was strategic. And so I started to realize if I want to hit my targets, I need to focus on enterprise, selling solutions. The old version of me didn't think that way because I actually avoided that because I didn't know really so much about it. So that's scary. So why would you do that, right? But this version was like, hey, I can really get close to hitting my target if I sell enterprise and stores because simply there's so much margin in it. It also has huge value. And so what I did was I went to our TSR, the technical sales rep, and I asked him to explain everything about, fertilization, about, the stores and the differences of all the things that we would sell. I even asked him, like, how can I spot these opportunities within my client base? What would be reasons for them to need that? And because of that, I became very comfortable, not just talking about it, but also spotting it, understanding the needs, understanding the bigger picture of what we were doing at Dell. And I used that is like the curiosity and that expanded mind. Even years later, when I worked for a different company, I was then a enterprise sales manager. I was already traveling the world. We didn't have a technical rep in Europe yet because I was the first European hire. If I'm in front of my partners or clients, I need to be able to showcase them what we're offering, right? And so what I did was I went to one of our dinosaur colleagues. She was moved to the Netherlands for our European branch. And I went to her and I said, hey, can you help me explain how our cloud solution works? I went there a few times on Saturdays in the weekend, biked all the way to Scheveningen, which is our beach town, and sat there and start to create my own integrations with the laptop. And there are us, traveling around the world doing those demonstrations. That woman would not exist if I would have stayed in that energy of, well, I'm just going to stay average. Well, I'm just going to stay in my comfort zone because I don't believe that I can go there because I was avoiding all the things I actually had to learn to get there. But what kept me stuck here is because I didn't even dare to dream bigger, right? And I wasn't even seeing that I was staying average. I was just, happy with sometimes hitting it, sometimes not, like being a B student, basically. I think what really happens is when your vision becomes bigger, you start focusing on who you need to become to reach that vision. And when you think small, you don't even see opportunities. And when you think bigger, suddenly you see strategies, suddenly you see opportunities, things you wouldn't be able to see before. If you're stuck, with challenges, it's because your vision isn't pulling you forward. And that can be because you don't believe. And if you don't believe, that's when you have to start brainwashing yourself. Check out yesterday's episode, I will link it. And once you do that, you will allow yourself to dream bigger. Thank you guys so much for watching.